Hi, welcome to the channel Schoolwork in Progress, where we talk about all things homeschool, secular homeschooling, and my entire life, including homeschool, is very much a work in progress. My kiddos are currently 8 and almost 11, third and sixth grade this upcoming school year. And today I want to talk about all of our curriculum choices for my youngest, my third grader. I am definitely a highly distractible squirrel when it comes to curriculum. So we definitely put ourselves in the eclectic category, and I collect things from all over the place, depending on what skills I think we need to work on this year. And I have a whole stack of things to show off. We also do a lot of things as a group, family style, because I do not know how people make time to do different things with different kids, and I only have two. So many of our curriculum are done as a group, and expectations are just different for each kid. We will save those to talk about in a different video. So today is just that very individualized, skill-based kind of work. This year I discovered Evan more. I have fallen in love, and my kiddos actually don't mind working through a workbook. So for this kind of skill stuff, we are focusing a lot on that, and let's get started. All right, math. I have been using Math Mammoth for a couple of years now and loving it. We can, I can make a video and walk through different things at some point, but basically it's all one book. We tried, I think I tried Singapore with my eldest way back when, and I was terrible at it. It had nothing to do with him. It had nothing to do with the program, but having different books, a teacher book, a student book. Was there also a test booklet or something? I don't even remember. But I know for me that if there are multiple pieces, I am going to fail miserably. So this, she calls them work texts, and there are teaching boxes. Let's see if I can find one. There are teaching boxes where it explains what you're doing, and then there's practice underneath. This for us has been working beautifully. So each grade level is split into two books, an A and a B. She is finishing up to B, and then we will move into the grade 3. Although I've heard that, I say that a lot, I'm sorry. I've heard that Math Mammoth tends to run a grade above what is typical in public school, meaning a grade 2 or level 2 Math Mammoth is equivalent to what they're being taught in third grade in public schools. How true is that? I don't know, but I'm not terribly worried about what grade level they're at as long as they're working steadily and making progress. Math Mammoth. For writing this year, Essentials in Writing. This is our first time using it. We did start it at the end of the last school year, but just a couple of weeks because I was antsy and I can't wait. This kid loves to write, loves to be creative. She already has a really good handle on her own original voice and isn't afraid to sit and write. But I wanted something to help walk her through the steps of the writing process and figure out how to put paragraphs together, but not in a way that's super formulaic. This seemed like a great compromise. It walks through the writing process, brainstorm, organize, draft, revise, and final draft, but it doesn't give you like super structured directions on what type of sentence to use, and that would be too much. We made one small change, which I think is fairly common for people using this curriculum. The first half focuses on grammar, and the second half is entirely writing projects. She would find that terribly boring if it was all grammar all the time without the writing. So we are basically we're just bouncing back and forth. So we'll do roughly a week of grammar exercises and then bounce to the second half and do a writing project. And then we'll take a break from writing and go back to grammar. So that's how we're going to be using that. We have never done a formal vocabulary study, but my first Evan Moore choice. Word a day. Usually we just discuss words as we come across them in our many read alouds or listening to audiobooks. If there's something that pops up that they don't understand, they're not afraid to ask. Or if I think it sounds kind of crazy, we'll look it up, we'll learn more about it. That's obviously a great way to learn vocabulary because you're directly connecting it with what you're reading. But we all kind of love interesting words in this house. So I thought doing a more formal study would be kind of fun. I haven't figured out the specifics of how we'll use this exactly because this is the teacher's book. So there are, I can kind of show you. There are these pages that have the individual word with the definition, a little exercise to help you remember what it means, synonyms, antonyms, all of that. But then there are other pages. This one is more activities that the teacher is supposed to guide, and then this is a page for them to fill out, but the answers are right down here. And so I have to figure out the actual practical hows of the daily work, but I'm excited. Yes, this is a grade 2, but when I looked online, in the preview, you can see a list of the words, and I just like this list better than the grade 3. I didn't want to leave these out. This kid is, thankfully for her, a natural speller. She can read a book and easily remember how things looked, even if she doesn't know why it's spelled that way. When she's writing on her own, she will use those patterns and things that she's seen. Like she was starting to write with apostrophes early, and she's like, I have no idea what this means, but I know that's how I see it in books. So that's great. I wanted to take advantage of that and encourage that a little bit. And these skill sharpeners, these are new to me this year. You'll see more of them pop up. It's not just boring, write the list. It does have that practice in here, but there's also some more fun ways of doing things. Matching, filling in sentences. I'm trying to find word searches. There are some crosswords as well. So I think this is one that she will like doing because my kids are weird. Critical thinking and looking for evidence is hugely important to me, especially with the world being what it is. So this year she's doing reading detective for that. Again, these are the kind of skills that we use as we're reading books together and we discuss things and we make sure we're asking questions and following up and not assuming all things are true without looking for reliable sources. But having something like this that she's working through here and there lets me know that she's internalizing those skills and able to put them to work and making sure there are little things I don't forget, because I forget a lot of things. We are doing 2 full science curricula this year, one with a small group co-op class and one that we'll talk about in the group subjects video. Stick around for that. But This kid loves facts. And I showed her a couple things and we chose this one. This is what the student practice ones look like. They're kind of boring. They're kind of boring. They're just black and white. They, but they're so much cheaper. They're so much cheaper. They do have some drawings and stuff to label as you go through, but it's just not as colorful and exciting. It does have activities that they can do, and plenty of drawings to show and illustrate the points they're making. Each week you have a different question that you're investigating. So this first one is, why do flowers have different colors and scents? And that question is what you're asking for the whole 5 days. There's a little thing to read, a little activity, quick, simple, but will help reinforce things that we're learning elsewhere. And some of the questions she thought, because I let them look through and help me choose, she thought were pretty interesting. Where does wind come from? Why does a can of soda explode when you, sometimes explode when you open it? And I think one of her favorites was, where is it? Something about, here it is. How do dolphins sleep without drowning? We will learn. We will find out. Up until this year, we have always used the DK geography workbooks to work on map skills and What else are in those books? So this year I was not going to specifically have a book for geography. It is a required subject to cover in elementary in our state, but we get plenty of geography work through our history and doing maps with our history program. But then I watched the YouTubes and someone showed me this, and it's another one of the skill sharpeners. And these are not the boring black and white ones. These are the colorful ones. Quick flip. See, you can actually do a flip through and look at the specific activities that are in here. But moral of the story, this looks more engaging, and it has not just read this map, answer this question, read this map, look at this key. It has so much more than that. It has those things and more. So I like that. I like that it draws in some just general social studies ideas and concepts. Just when you thought we couldn't get any more Evan Moore workbooks in our lives, I very recently decided to have my kids both learn cursive. I'm not worried about them having beautiful cursive handwriting, but they have both told me, even though my son did study it at some point and could write it beautifully, it has left his brain. Both of my kids have told me that they aren't able to read it. So we are going to do, I got the digital Evan Moore contemporary cursive. They do have two versions, a traditional and a contemporary. And I just liked the styling of it. This one doesn't show the specific individual steps, this stroke, this shape, you know, the lined 1, 2, 3 to really break down how to form each letter. It does have, which I don't have with me, one sheet that has all of the letters to remind you what they all look like on one simple sheet. But then it just breaks it down into these half sheets per day to write and practice. This, I think, will be enough for us. If it's not, I'll get something else. I did decide to get the digital one so I could easily print 2 copies for my 2 kids. And again, this is not going to be a daily thing. And our focus will be on learning the letters so they can read it, because that is important. There is a bandwagon that I have shamelessly jumped on. Shameless. No shame. I love it. I adore it. And I'm pretty sure that will not be changing anytime soon. Megan's School Nest notebooks. They're lovely. My kids get to choose the color of their grade level notebook each year. Last year both of my kids went very light and bright. My daughter chose the teal and my son went with the light purple. This year we're very bold and dramatic. We don't do a ton of notebooking, so I don't get the individual subjects. Even though in my dreams we do notebooking, it just doesn't work for my kids. They think it's torturous. So in my dreams, I would have the math one and the science book and the history notebook and all of the things. And maybe as they get older so they can reference their notes from years past, but they're young and everything's kind of a hot mess, an adorable hot mess. But we just put everything in a singular grade level notebook. As we work through it, I can update you and show you a video of how it actually turns out. But we tend to put like our first day, we do our first day pictures. You guys, I can't help it. And the sheet they fill in, they're all about me sheet, we'll stick that in. If they do journal entries or other writing samples, we'll put those in here. Our spelling tests go in here. If there is a map for history that we fill out, in here. So this, by the end of the year, will be, we don't need a portfolio for our state, but it kind of ends up being a little summary of everything they did in that grade. I love it. So that's everything we have for third grade. Reminder that as a family, we do many subjects. The deep dives, the digging into cool subject material stuff together. So this is the more standard, do the page, learn the thing, practice the skill, move on with your life stuff. But my kids don't hate workbooks, so it works out well for us. All of the group subjects I will talk about more and show how we use them in a different video, so stay tuned. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye. This is gonna take so much time to edit, you guys. You guys.